What's up, everyone? So I'm going to show you how to make a simple way, or the easiest way I know, to send sample data to Log Analytics or Azure Sentinel. And this is going to be with a logic app. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a workspace ID. You're going to need a workspace key. You're going to need a logic apps. And you're going to need some kind of browser or curl or some way to invoke that logic app. And that's pretty much it. So let's get started. First, we're going to need to create a logic app. So let's just search for logic app. Now you can also use Flow, kind of the same premise, and it will just tie to your user. We're going to click add, click consumption. And we are going to I'm going to put it in a group test, but put it in whatever resource group you want. We'll call this manual log ingestion into Sentinel. Name it whatever you want, guys. This is going to be just a way I know what I made. Okay, let's create it. So what we need to do first is we need to create that logic app. Okay, so once that logic app is created, let's go to the resource. First, we need a trigger. A trigger is exactly how it sounds. How do we trigger this logic app? You can trigger from a scheduled recurring job, like a minute or day. You can trigger from a HTTP request, which is also kind of like an API. So let's do that. I could do recurring, but API is pretty cool. Now, it says when an HTTP request is received, the URL will be generated. So after you save it, you're going to get this special URL. The request body or JSON schema. For this, we're going to keep it simple. Let's drop this down. Let's go to method, check mark method. Let's put get. So we don't even need to post anything. We're just going to get. We're just going to call it and it just works. Okay. Click new step. Now in here, type log analytics data. You could type log analytics, but I'm trying to find the log analytics data collector. It needs to be data collector because you want to send data to log analytics. I've already connected my log analytics data connector, so I'm just going to make a new one so you can see what happens. You need to make a connection name, so we'll call this log analytics data connector. The workspace ID. Go ahead and go grab your workspace ID and workspace key. Here's where you go get it. Go to Azure Sentinel. When you go to Azure Sentinel, go to your environment that you want to send logs to. Go to settings, go to workspace settings, go to agent management, and then you're going to want to copy these two fields, the workspace ID, and you want to copy the primary key or secondary key. If you refresh this, it won't work anymore, and you're going to have to generate new ones. So if you regenerate, that is good if you want to kind of cycle your tokens, but just know that apps will break if you regenerate those keys and you're using that key to authenticate. But this is going to be the key and workspace ID that's going to tie that data. So once you have that set up, you have a JSON request body. You have something you can send into that log analytics workspace. Okay. So let's just make some sample data. All right. So let's do an open square bracket, close square bracket. We're going to press enter. Okay. Inside that square brackets, we want to put some data. So let's just put name in quotes, put a colon, and then put a name, test name, right? We're making data to put in, put a comma. Whenever you have JSON and you have multiple items in that element, you want to have, actually, we need to put curly braces. I apologize. Square braces is for an array. So curly braces, we want to put name, test name. Let's put message. All right. This is a test message. Well, let's just put something interesting. Brute force attempt detected on device 1. Something, whatever. We're just generating some sample data. Okay. And let's put a custom, something custom you want to put in. Let's put username is Bob. Okay, so maybe I have username Bob. And make sure there's a comma after every one of these key value pairs. Okay. So we have a JSON request body we're going to send. All right. If you want to send multiple items, then you simply have to put a square braces in front of the curly braces. Okay. And then you can copy this and send another one. So we'll just copy this. Actually, we'll just keep it simple. I'm going to remove the curly, I'm going to move this for now, and we'll just send one message. The custom log name, what table do you want to store it in? So if it doesn't exist, it'll automatically generate. So what's the name of the table? We're going to put test table. And remember, you don't want to do this too many times because you're going to have all these random tables populating in your custom tables. So be sure to name it something you might use later on. So maybe synthetic, right? We'll just call it synthetic. Okay. And that's it. That is it. We're going to save it. Run the trigger. Let's run it. And now, how would we call this URL? Ooh, I don't even have the URL. How do we call this URL? Let me get the URL real quick. Here, there we go. Because we saved it, now the URL is available. We're going to copy that URL and we'll run it again. And to trigger it, we'll just open up a browser and just do an HTTP request. Okay. Let's see. Bad request. Invalid data format. Yeah. All right. It wants those square brackets. So we need to put this in square brackets. So let's go ahead and put it in these square brackets. Okay. And save it again. And let's trigger it. I think it's going to actually run it just to trigger automatically. So let's see what happens. Invalid data format. Name, brute force, name, message. Oh. All right, guys, I made a boo-boo. It's all right. We all make mistakes. Username, you see that? I didn't put any quotes around that. So we always need to have quotes before the colon and after the colon when you have JSON. Okay. Let me see if I could actually send it without this again. Let's see. All right. And there we go. So the data has been sent. Let's go into Azure Sentinel. It's going to be somewhere else. So make sure you find the one it's in. Here we go. I think that's where it is. So my table has been generated, but it hasn't populated the data yet. Remember, it's going to build that table. It's going to take a bit to get some data into there. But once that data is into there, it'll populate here. So once we have that data into the synthetic table, let me show you actually how to make it a little bit smarter. Let's go ahead and edit this again. We're going to edit this a manual log ingestion. We're going to change this to a post, guys. Okay. In the send data, we're going to take this JSON request body. We're going to cut it. And we want whatever is posted to go into the JSON request body. So let's go to dynamic content, click see more, and we want that body. Does that make sense? The body inside here. Okay. And now we want to save this. We'll run the trigger and we'll do run with payload now. We're going to post content type application JSON, paste whatever we made, just paste it into this field and click run. All right, guys, so data has come in. So here we go. Now, here's a couple things that you need to know. Whenever custom logs come in, it comes into a custom log sort of area or section inside this navigation window. So it'll be on custom logs, and your generated table will be here, synthetic underscore CL, indicating custom logs. Okay. If you didn't, usually you would provide if it's a string, but if not, then log analytics will try to detect if it's a string or not. So you'll get an underscore S for string, and you just simply just have to reference that column. So here we have the name, message, username, and the type of log it is. And that's it. You've just ingested some logs into Azure Sentinel and through a logic app. Okay. All right, guys, this is definitely not secure. So this is just for testing. You want to test this logic app, or you want to test some sample messages, but definitely not secure, but it's easy. Now, if you want to secure it, let me just show you real quick. So let's just do an example. Let's change this back to a get message, and we're just going to validate. Instead of the body, we'll just send some sample data again. Okay. And let's do a new step. Let's do a response. So when you make a call or you make a request to the URL, maybe you want to respond back. So you could say data was sent to log analytics. Okay. Now, when you run this, it says data was sent to log analytics. So if you, again, were to copy that URL, open up another browser, as you can see, data was sent to log analytics. That's the custom response that you just created. Okay. But if you want to secure it, I suggest going into log analytics and providing a key in the header. So maybe we want a key. So how would we do that? All right, so let's do let's do a post. Okay, and we're gonna use that data from that body. Okay, and we want to read that header information. Okay, so how do we do that? We're gonna, let me do a compose real quick just to see what's in that header. Okay, so I'm gonna save it. And let's just validate it. We're gonna run with payload. We're gonna post. We're gonna put API token or API token. And we're gonna generate an API token. Let's just go generate a API token generator. Let's generate one. Okay. All right. So we'll run it. Okay. Close this. And let's look at that history. So refresh. We'll look at the failed. Did the API token come in? I'm just trying to find the token. User, MS client, error. There it is. So as you can see, API token is right there because I provided it in the headers. Okay. Now that I provided it in the headers, I can use that to validate if the request is legitimate or not. Okay. So let's go back to edit. So we know the header came in. And better yet, let me actually delete this. I'm going to show you a better way to do it. Let's do parse JSON. When we parse JSON, we want to parse a specific element out of that message. So the content is going to be the headers and the schema. Let's look at it real quick. Okay. And I know I'm going advanced here. I apologize, but I'm teaching a lot of good things. Parsing JSON is going to help you a lot. I'll show you why. Let me go here. Let me go to the failed. Let's look at that output. So the input's nothing, but the output is probably some stuff. Here's the headers. Okay. Right? We're going to copy that element. So we're going to copy all this. Okay. Actually, we're going to copy the header part. Okay. You want to copy this, what comes after headers. Okay. And we're going to paste it here. I'm sorry. Go to the use sample payload to generate schema and paste it here. Okay. Now, what do you want from here? Well, I only want the header, or I'm sorry, I only want the API token. So let's delete everything else. You're basically providing the schema and telling it what you want to pull out of here. I only want the token, right? So once you parse JSON, you can call this API token. Then you're going to say, now you're going to validate that token. Okay, so we're going to do an if statement. So we're going to do condition maybe. Is it maybe control? We need an if statement. Control, and we need a condition. So here's the condition. Does API token match? So we're going to get that API token. See that? It's available for me to use. Does API token equal to... Ooh, what was that token? Okay. Oh, I renamed this wrong. Does API token match? And then I'm going to delete this back. I apologize, guys. All right. I couldn't put a question mark here. Didn't like it. API token. Does API token match? And now we have a way to validate that token. It has to match that. If it matches, we want to go to true. And we want to send this data over here. Whatever. All right, let's just remove it. Can drag it into there. Send data, request, response. Data was sent to log analytics. Save it. Okay. And false. What do we want to respond with if it's false? Request is not authenticated. Okay. So it's getting a little complicated, guys, but now we're adding checks and balances. Remember, if you're testing, you don't have to do this, but if you're trying to go to production, you got to put some kind of validator. And this is just a simple way, but you know, you could do many different ways, you know, authenticate the user or even go further, but this is something simple. And does API token match true, false? Okay. So yeah, let's test it out. Rerun this. Trigger post actual get. So we need to put a post. Okay. So we'll try to do it this one. Post content type application JSON API token bad token and the body message blah. Request is not authenticated. Okay, so cool. The request is not authenticated. Now let's do it again. Let's put the right token in and run it again. And the data was sent to Log Analytics. Okay, this literally, we built an API. We are validating API token and it's true. Now this token, you don't want to share it with them, and preferably, better yet, take that token and actually pull it from like a vault. Right? And I'm not going to go into that, but maybe you don't have that clear text available. Maybe you store that in the vault and pull it and have that, you know, validate the parameter as well. So yeah. Does this make sense, guys? So want to secure that API token. If you're going to try to go and expose this out, at least secure with a token or something strong, or maybe multi-token, you know, whatever you want, but you know, make it more secure. All right, everyone. So did this make sense? Was this difficult? But literally, you built a way to have an HTTP request, have someone post data to it, have a way to validate that it's an authenticated request with the API token, parse the API token with the parse JSON action, then have a if that then this control to only route it if it matches. Okay. Please like and subscribe if you like this content, and comment below if you want anything else, and stay safe. Have a good day, guys.